All right, welcome to practical lesson 17. So we're going to design this called pirate book cover. So oh 07 practical lessons, oh 07 17 fiction. Then in the folder you have, this is courtesy of book cover mold, and then the title is called Pirates, the journey to the end of the art, the author name. Then we're going to use this score pirate image, and then we're going to use the Cinzel font. So we let's go to Photoshop, and then we are going to, or let's check the folder first. Okay, let's go to Photoshop and then create. I'm going to stick with the last one, RGB black 1560 by 25. So I'm going to stick with that. That's not the right size actually. So but I'm going to stick with that, and we are going to design on this black background. So these are the images. I'm going to use this texture. You can see this texture, and I'm going to use this sky, this call image, and of course I'm going to use some smoke, some shines, and some so first we are going to import this, and I'm going to use some other. So I'm going to right click, open in Photoshop, and then I will drag it and drop it so I can resize it. And I'm going to import the other one. I'm going to import it and drop it, and then put it into position. Control T, and make sure you hold it down the shift key, and then you resize and drag it up like so, and check. And now you see the lower end, I don't want any sharp distance, so I'm going to clean some part of that. So I don't want any sharp transition, so I'm going to select the brush tool and then brush over. So I'm going to add a layer mask and select, make sure the foreground color is black, and just brush lightly. Control Z if you made any mistake, and actually let me disable or delete the layer marks, because the color is almost the same, so there's no difference. So I could just leave it the way it is, or you could just brush and see if it will make any difference. So now let's type in the title. This called Pirates. So select the type tool, and Control T or Command T. Let's see if we can readjust that. Maybe make it bigger. I want it to be centered, so so now I want to add maybe a smoke coming from the eyes and from the nose. So that's why we have this smoke, and there are 3 different smoke images. So the straight one probably in the nose, and the eyes, the other 2 in the eyes. So let's import that, and let's import the 3, and then the third one. So now let's drag that in. No, let me go back. So I'm going to drag it and drop it. And I just realized I've been working in the wrong So let me just add this first. Let's add that to the nose, and then let's change the color. So I can change the color mode, or I could just add maybe a color overlay and then make that white or near white, maybe somewhere there. So it's, and then I can Control T or Command T to increase, and then I will drag. So it looks like there's a smoke coming out from the nose. And then I'm going to do that for the other two. Just drag and drop. And like I said, I realize I've been working in the wrong I'm supposed to be working on the other untitled cover size that we created. Instead, I'm working on the texture layer. So, but we can fix everything later. So when you make mistakes like that, sometimes you have to find a way to correct. So now they copy the layer style, paste it here, copy the layer style, paste it here. So you don't have to repeat it again. So now we have the smokes, and we are done with that. So now the next thing is the rain. So we have these rain droplets that we are going to drag. And like I said, sometimes if you're trying to drag and then you can drag, just drag the layer on the right, and it's the same thing. And now we can Control T to and now we can, and I could even duplicate that and use that. So Control J or Command J, rain 1, rain 2, and then I'll select the rain 2. No, so I make sure you type Control T or Command T so that it'll be easier for you to select and drag, and then I could. So if it's too much, I could reduce the opacity to maybe 80 or something like that. So now that that is done, I will select the all layers, including the background, and then so make sure you unlock that, double click to unlock, and now select the first, shift click on the last one, and then group. So I'm going to name this, of course, background. So now let's start adding the text, the title, which is the skull. So change that to white, and now increase the size. And now Cinzel regular, let me use bold, check, and we are done. So the skull, I could do it this way. What I want to do is the skull is, let me type skull first. I think I want to add X on one layer, then the KULL on another layer. That's because I want to work on the S. So, but first let us work on this. So let's use the Cinzel decorative regular, and let's see if if we make it all caps, that's the shape, then I can increase the size and let's make it bold. No, I think regular will be fine. So now I have that, and like I said before, the S, I want the S to be on another layer actually. So maybe let me increase the size first and drag it. So I want the S to come down maybe a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to remove it, the S, then put it on another layer. So type S on another layer, S, and I want to blow that up, make it bigger. So I'm going to select both layer and I'm going to drag it to the right, and now this one, drag it to, and I want it to be beside it like so. So let me type in pirates, and I'm going to use Cinzel regular pirates or decorative, and let's see, let's drag it to, let's see if we uncheck the bold and drag it to like so, and now we have that. So the next is to add the subtitle Journey to the End of the World. We'll fix the skull and others later, so let's just type everything and then we'll come back and adjust the colors and Cinzel regular. And I'm going to drag it to Control T or Command T, and so double click and let's increase the Journey to the End of the World and drag it down with the arrow keys. Then the pirates, let's work on that. Make sure they are actually make that smaller. The S, let's try and add some layer style. So I'm going to add some bevel, make it maybe chisel add, and maybe some inner bevel, then some depths. So I'm trying to make the S different, and that's why I actually added the S on its own layer. So the size, maybe 9, soften, then the highlight mode, maybe we should leave it, and then the shadow mode, just leave everything the way it is, and let's add some, maybe some drop shadow, to that. Okay, no. Okay. Now you can see the S is different. You can see it's different. It has some bevel, color overlay. And if we zoom in, Control or Command plus plus, I can see it's quite different. It's quite different. And let's see if we make it increase the depth. And then you can see that groove, and that's because it's chisel hard. So this outer bevel. And now I can copy the layer style and add it to maybe to this one. So I could make that different, but I think let's just add the layer style to that. And then the pirates, I could maybe add it to the pirates too. Yeah, I think it looks good, but we'll try to add maybe some gradient overlay to the pirates. And I'm going to select that first and then give it some orangey yellow orangey kind of color overlay. And now the end, maybe something like that. And change. You can't see this, and that's because we have the color overlay on. So we need to uncheck the color overlay. So if you uncheck the color overlay, you can see it works. That color is not right, so I think let's make it brighter. Now you can see, and then the mode, and looks better, and it could be better, and you could use any of the styles. Most of the ones that I have here are dull colors, so for now I think I'll just stick with that for now. And like I said, you can make any adjustment at any time. You'll come back and make any adjustment. So if I zoom back out, that's Control minus minus or Command minus minus. And now let's copy and then paste it here at the top. And I'm going to increase the size, drag it to the middle, and check. bold. Okay. And the other text, number 1 New York Times bestseller. Control C, Command C to copy. Control V, Command V to paste. Times Roman, or let's use this Laura regular. This is another one that I use in place of the Times New Romans. So I'm going to drag it and I'm going to increase no, not that one. Drag and maybe 13, 15. Okay. So now that is done. The color, sample color from, okay. Now I'm going to add, you can see I can't see it clearly, so I'm going to add maybe a drop shadow or something. So first let me add the shadow at the top. You can see that you can't see the text clearly, and that's because the top part of the skull is kind of bright. So like I said, you can use the brush to add some shadow, or you can use any of imported shadow like this and make the background kind of darker, and then the text will, so you have to drag below. Let's see. To reduce the opacity. Just look. Now you can see it's below the text, and now you can see it looks so much better. So I'm going to select it again, and let me see if I make it black or white. Maybe white is good. Okay. Number 1, maybe at the top, and F79 A4 8, maybe that color. Okay, drag it down, and this I can further increase the opacity or reduce it. So I'm trying to make sure that text it's okay. So if I zoom in, you can see that it looks fine. Zoom back out, and so the flare, I'm going to add it on on the pirate thing, so I can drag it. So, and I'm trying to create some kind of droplets, colored drop. So I'm going to use this flare and I'm going to open it and I'm going to drag it, then Control T or Command T to increase the size, and then I can reduce the opacity. So I can duplicate that, Control J or Command J, and then Control T, Command T, then drag it down. And now let's reduce the opacity of that one too. And now I'm going to copy both, then drag it to put it in the background. And now I have that. So now the shine, I'm going to import the shine and I'm going to use it on the text. You see where that A is. So I'm trying to add that shine. Let's zoom into that point and let's see. And I'm going to drag it above the pirate layer. Control T, Command T, and hold down the Shift key and increase the size. And now we are trying to put it on the A, exactly where that and now if I zoom back out, you can see what it looks like, and you can change the color mode of that, so maybe color dodge or something like that, so it shines. But for now we can just leave it as it is. So this is the shadow, then this is the shadow 2, and then I'm going to duplicate that shadow and then rotate it and then drag it to the bottom. So you can see the shadow 2 and then the shadow 1. So I'm going to select the brush and probably just add a layer mask and then brush some part of. Okay. Maybe not. Let me delete the layer mask, and you can see there's a transparency there, and that's because the texture layer is not. We need to drag that down. Just the arrow to drop it down, and now it fills that area, so it's no more transparent. And now so let's see what adjustment we can do. So the journey, let's put them together. So this and this, the 3, we'll group those 3 together and call it the title. You can see, so we need to add the X, so drag that into the group with the journey, and now that's the title. Now the number 1, the shadow and the second shadow, that should be part of the background. So I'm going to drag that into the background. Then the other one too, no, this should be part of the title. Then this is the part of the background. Then these 3, this shadow is actually part of the author name. So we can group them together and call it author. And now you can see they are nicely grouped together, and so let's make some other adjustments. So the S, let me and then the pirates, let me drag that up. I want the S to actually touch the pirate and look like it's below the pirate. So the other one, I'm going to drag it to the right a bit, double click and see if I think it will look better if it's not all caps, but this one we should, the pirates also the same thing. And now move that to the right. And now I think, let me drag the, okay, and I think we're done. So now let's look at the image size. So you can see it's kind of big. So I'll select this layer and let's look at the size, and then you can see this is the right size we created before. So I'm going to select all the layers and I'm going to drag into that right layer. You can drag the layers on the right and drop it in the right. So Control T, and then you can click on Control minus minus to reduce, and then Control T, hold down the Shift key to reduce and make necessary arrangement. Control T or Command T and drag, make sure we actually have everything in the right place, and you can see the text. Control T for the text, and we can blow that up holding down the Shift key, so we can work on each layer individually. And now we are using the right size, we can center all of them, and any adjustment we want to make. The title, we can make the adjustments, this, double click, and maybe make it bigger. Then this one much more bigger, and this, okay. And this, and then reduce the spacing. Then we can turn the age to make that different. The S, the KLU, this one, drag it up a bit, and then select both, drag them to the right, drag them up a bit, the pirates, drag it up, and drag it down. Then that light, I can change. Yeah, like I said, the color dodge, if you want something to glow, you can use the linear or the color dodge, and we are done. So I can save that, call it the fiction book cover, and also save the JPEG version, and that is it. So I can check the result and see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like, and this is the final design. So it took some time on this design, and that's because I was trying to get things right. And you can see you can always go back and forth and correct things even after you made a mistake, like the cover size, like even on the font and some other things. You can go back, correct everything. Just make sure that if you made a mistake like that, you can always save your design and then come back and change anything later. So I hope you like this design. In the next video, we will design maybe a drama and maybe a photo book after that, and then some creative art design, and we'll round up this section. So I hope you like this video. On to the next video.